thought that they were lacking for information when it came to your situation. So I'll just start with you.
So we need to know more about our competition and market share.
Okay.
Found a bunch of the competitors at the New York Bank Fair that were nowhere near what we were doing. So
That must have made you feel good.
it was so sweet. But the other side of it is we had made a lot of assumptions, assuming that we had the wolves nipping at our heels, and made possibly some rash decisions of trying to rush things out of control.
Interesting.
So we made possibly the opposite mistake.
That's a very interesting. I'm glad I called you first because your so he knows he needs more information about competitors, and he proved it. Because he said, now that we know who our competitors are, we would have done things a little differently. Wow, how insightful is that? Now he needs to get out in front of that. Remember talking about learn your lessons, right? So you want to stay on top of those competitors because, yeah, okay, good for you. But don't underestimate them. There's some guy out there in the garage you don't even know about. Okay, over here. Is this all one group? No. Okay, so did you guys get together? Okay.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a co-op yet.
Okay.
We're thinking about like a coffee shop.
Okay.
So we were talking about how we don't really know what our market size is or what our market definition is.
Okay. Well, then that's a really good point. And yeah, coffee shop. What would that possibly be? How would you define a coffee shop market? So traffic, I would think, right? Whether it's driving traffic or walking traffic, but people have to get to you some way, assuming you're doing it that way. Now, if you're online, maybe that's a different story because you're selling pounds of coffee online or something, right? So maybe it's a whole other way. But you got to stay focused. Okay, good. Over here, is there someone can give us an idea? Yeah.
Nosotros estamos intentando saber cómo encontrar la mejor forma de introducirnos al mercado.
We actually just want to know how we can find the best way to introduce ourselves to our market.
Okay, do you feel you know your market?
¿Piensas que sabes? ¿Conoces a tu market?
And what define your market for me, please?
Sí, puedes darme una definición de mercado. Sí, me puedes dar la definición de tu mercado.
De lo que vendemos, ¿no? Nosotros estamos vendiendo.
¿De quién estamos?
¿Quién?
Sí, ¿quiénes son la gente?
Bueno, nuestros clientes, nuestros consumidores son la comunidad y nuestros amigos que nos rodean.
So they're a bee co-op. So they have beehives and they
Yes.
sell honey.
Okay.
So our market is whoever
Wants to buy honey. Okay. All right.
But we have defined our market as the people in our community because it's like.
So geographically defined to a certain degree. You want
Right.
to stay within a
Within-
certain area.
Right. So
Okay.
basically, they're from Providence too. So, but it's this area in Providence, small area in Providence, right on the
Okay. All right. Good. So how to reach that market was you were saying was one way in
Yeah, what
defining
is
it.
the
Okay.
best way?
So you're selling retail? No, what I mean, but you're going to sell retail directly to the consumer. Yeah, so that's retail versus wholesale, and you're selling it to a store.
Right.
Okay, you're not doing that. Okay, good. All right, excellent. How about you guys? What's some gaps that you saw that maybe you got to figure out?
A lot of gaps on knowing our competitors, especially there is another pedicab company in town, so it's easy to like think of them as our only competition, but there's actually a lot of other people who in different ways are our competitors. There's taxis
Sure.
for transportation.
Or the pedicabs who end up using Uber,
Yeah,
and now they
Uber.
call the pedicabs on their own individually and don't really need you guys because they can all do it on an app and it's done. And each individual person is 25 people all with individual cabs, all with their own Uber account, and now they're just going to be your competitors. So what's happened to the taxi cab drivers?
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah.
But that's good. Who's
Right.
your competition? Absolutely. I know. It's just like you're like, oh, where did that come from?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a personal taxi cab service. You just call up, and it's not a taxi cab, it's somebody driving their own car.
A lot of the
Oh,
members
yeah.
of Uber though have filed labor.
Well, regardless, but the point is that there's competition like that, as unsophisticated or unorthodox that it might be. Yeah, how about you guys? A gap for your diggers?
Lots of gaps.
Yeah, quite a few.
Oh, okay.
Some of the psychographics and the buying motivation.
Okay.
As to us versus the company.
Sure, absolutely, that's good. You know, what's motivating these people to want to use this? Because if I can figure that out, that's what I'm going to tell them, if I can provide that. Okay, great. How about you? A gap?
Competitors.
Competitors, okay. All right, yep, competitors are always important. Very good. But I get everybody, right? Yes?
We're running
Yeah.
into
Oh.
competitors with future focus as well.
Okay.
Competitors, who they are and who they're so quick to pop up within, say, our backyard. But then we're also running into the issue of technology, because people now have their own DSLR
Sure.
or their own cell phone that shoots HD video. They feel they can go out and become
Right.
a photographer, a videographer,
Interesting.
storyteller.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I like how you just define the end of that. Okay, next slide. Good stuff, guys, really good. And by the way, you're gonna have more. Let's go back up one. Just two internal, please. Well, you know what, lay it out, no, go ahead and lay it out internally, just lay that whole slide out. That's it, right there, okay. So the gap thing, the situation analysis, you're gonna have a big laundry list of these. I mean, we only took 5 minutes. So really exhaust that list. Really, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And like this gentleman over here, if he had known something about competitors, he may have saved thousands of dollars because he didn't have to do something. Cost him money. You don't know what you don't know. So take that part very serious, knowing the gaps. Okay? Very key. All right. SWOTs. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Has anyone ever done a SWOT analysis with your business? Okay, yeah. So you guys have done these types of things. Okay, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but real simple. Divide them into 2. Internal, your strengths, your weaknesses. External, the opportunities out there and the threats that are out there. Outside the business and the marketplace, whatever it might be. That macro stuff, okay? This is a great exercise to do individually. If there's 4 or 5 of you in your co-op or whatever, each one of you do your own. Do not talk to the other person. Come up with your own list. Then put them all up on the wall. See how close you guys are to each other. That'll be a very interesting exercise. Really good to do it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about SWOTs. But you can see how that's part of your situation analysis, right? What are my strengths and weaknesses in-house? What are my opportunities and threats? Okay? All right, so next slide, please. So you guys have already seen, some of you have done this, but we're going to take a minute, just a minute or two, and I'm going to ask each group to come up with at least 1 strength, 1 weakness, 1 threat, and 1 opportunity that you feel, maybe what you might think is your best one, okay? Or your worst one, depending on whether it's a strength or a weakness or a threat. It'll take about a minute to do that.